Hello and welcome to Living and Loving Each Day, Bridging Barriers. My name is Sue Jansen, and I'm an honor to be with you here today. And I am a certified life coach. I'm a resilience and actually confidence coach, to be more exact. I was a special ed teacher in the past, and I'm currently a realtor who specializes in barrier-free and accessible homes. And finally, I know it's a lot, but I'm happy doing it. I only do what I love to do. I am also a big band singer, so I love doing that as well. So this podcast, Living and Loving Each Day, Bridging Barriers, is all about helping parents with and with children who might have adaptive needs. And it's also a podcast for adults who have neurodivergent, like neurodiverse is the word that they use. And there's people who are just facing barriers in their life. I'm even considering talking to women who are in transition and into retirement age, because that's a huge transition and it's also a barrier. So this podcast is for you. It's just to say you are not alone. We are together. And my goal is to provide parent stories and inspiring stories to encourage you, and also experts to give you really good information and expert advice. So welcome to this podcast. And I want to welcome my beautiful guest, and it's Dinalynn is her name. And you've got this gorgeous red hair. And I just want to, number one, I'm just going to say welcome here. Thank you for being here today. And I want to know all about you, Dinalynn, and where are you from? Like, where are you sitting, like physically? I
Thank
always like
you
to.
so much, Susan, for inviting me to Living, Loving Each Day, building, bridging barriers. And I appreciate the work you do. So I am sitting here in Minnesota. That's
Minnesota.
why,
Okay, not too
yes.
far. You're not far
Where
from me.
where
I'm
are
in
you?
Alberta. I'm in Alberta.
Ah, okay,
Oh
so you're
no,
Canadian.
I'm just north of Montana, Minnesota. I'm
Hmm.
sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
no.
Well, it's not as far as if you were in California. All right. Well, it's still lovely, lovely to be here. And I'm glad for the work that you would do. That's very important.
Oh, thank you so much. So glad that you're here today. So tell me, like, I want to hear a little bit about you and how you provide services to people. Like, I know that you help
Sure.
a lot of
Sure.
people.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm happy to get started.
Okay.
So, I have worked for 30 years as a speech language pathologist in the schools. One of the things that happened for all those years is that the kiddos would come into my classroom, I'd work with them in the classroom, and then what we end up doing is sending our children that have some delays
Mhm.
into their regular environments. So they would go to the school bus, they go home, they go to their classroom, and we would want them to take the skills they learn in my little room by themselves and apply them in other settings. Now, yes, it works. It does. But I
Mhm.
thought, there's got to be ways to make this work better. And we
Yes.
know that the human brain works better if we drop a little bit at a time frequently. So I decided to change my service delivery models many years ago, and I started inviting parents. And when the parents came into my classroom, and I tried to do this with as many parents as could, I wanted them to come once a week with me. So if I saw the child 2 or 3 times a week, one of those times was with the parent, with me, one on one, in order to teach the parent what to do at home.
Yes.
And for the parents who could manage this in their schedule, those kiddos made huge progress. So I started thinking then, what else can I do to empower parents?
Mhm.
Fast forward through lots of different stories in my life, I am now primarily teaching parents how they can teach their kids
Wow.
these speech and language skills at home.
It's just
So we know
reinforces what you're already doing. So that's wonderful for the kids to get that extra,
absolutely.
opportunity. That's wonderful.
Yep. So
Wonderful.
that's one feature of it. Now we also have a great big pocket of kids that when they are tested, so teacher and parent, somebody knows that the kiddos are struggling, and then they come for an assessment. And when I give the evaluation and assessment, they just don't qualify. In other words, they didn't score quite low enough.
Oh.
And here in the States, we have a qualifying score, and then there's this big gap between what is qualifying and what is normal.
Mhm.
And so, in the gap where the kiddos don't qualify to get speech therapy and they are not functioning strongly normally,
Mhm.
there isn't much for them. And at that point, I thought, well, I want to be able to help the parents know what to do to help these kiddos at home. And so that's the other pod of kiddos where we are benefiting. And so the other thing that I find out is a lot of times our parents feel like, I don't know if I can do that. That's magic what you guys do in the classroom. And I say, no, it's little bits at a time, repeated many times.
Reinforced. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not,
so when we teach the parents how they are able to teach their kiddos at home, we've got parents and kids learning together. And this translation of learning how a kiddo communicates impacts every area of life. So when we're thinking about our kids with a speech and language delay, most of the time parents come to me and they say things like, my kid is not listening.
I
And
know. That's not as a special ed teacher, I so know that that's not the case.
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it is. Sometimes it's willful
Well,
disobedience, no
it,
question.
if it's a
But
behavior thing, right? Sometimes, yes.
yeah, sometimes, but a lot of the time it is that our students hear whatever they hear. They didn't process that auditory information, and then they don't follow what it is that they're supposed to do. For example, parents said to me, I told my son to take out the trash. I had the trash can right in front of him. I handed him the trash bag, and
Yeah.
he looked at me, smiled, and said, okay, set the trash down, and then walked out of the room.
Yeah.
And so when we learn to read a child's behavior as communication, so behavior is communication. So what would the child be communicating in that scene? He'd be communicating there was something that he didn't quite understand.
Something's missing here. Yeah.
Something's missing, but the child doesn't know they're missing it. Because if you ask the child, do you understand? The only answer kids ever get it or give is yes. Why? It's because they don't know that they don't understand. They simply heard what they heard. And when you ask, do you understand? It doesn't really mean, is your understanding matching what my understanding is of your understanding?
Exactly.
You can't really say that to the kiddos. Their behavior is going to show if they did or did not understand.
Right. That's
It
the
is really,
evidence. That's our evidence that we have to reinforce it somehow another way or say it a different way, maybe, right?
exactly, exactly. And when our kiddos have some kind of speech sounds that are wrong, we can be sure that they are probably not catching on to everything we say auditorily, because it's an indicator that there's something not fully connected there, right? They haven't
Exactly.
developed that. It's not that they're bad or wrong. It's that they are growing, morphing human beings, and they just haven't gotten there yet.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
love that program, and I was never a speech language pathologist, or a specialist, but I was in a program in special ed in the Canada here, and at that time it was called ADD, which is not the attention deficit disorder. It was called auditory discrimination in depth, is
Ah,
what we
sure.
called it. And so we gave each of the sounds to the kids that speak in speech, the modalities, names, and how they sound, how they hear, and how they, how the kids say it physically with their mouth. So I love doing that. Like I love just the magic that happened when the kids went, "Oh, that's a windy sound. Oh, okay." Then now they get it. They understand what I'm talking about. So I
Yeah.
love that. Yes.
Yeah. And using metaphors like that is a fabulous way to help our kids learn what we intend for them to learn. Yeah, it's great. One of the things that comes up every time when I'm working with parents is this idea of play.
Mhm.
What actually is play? And
Okay.
how do we relate to our kids? Because we know that our kids, it's pretty common knowledge that the language of a child is play. We hear that all over. But what does it mean?
Yeah.
When we think about what play is, we know that play is it is discovering. It is exploration. It is risky. It
Mhm.
is fun. It is some kind of enjoyment. There's
Mhm.
something positive that is coming out of play. But you need to remember too that in play that things go wrong also. It's part of the experiment. We don't
Yeah.
think of it as wrong if we're actually in a mindset that is play.
Mhm.
If we keep our mind in that space, then we are testing and
Mhm.
trying, but we're not actually thinking we failed and it is
Right.
wrong.
Yeah.
Now, children operate there. And if we can operate there, now go back to the behavior we were just talking about. And if we can adapt that mindset when we talk to our children about their behavior,
Mhm.
they don't then have to defend themselves.
Yeah.
Then they don't get angry because they feel attacked.
Yes. It
And
stays
so,
positive, doesn't it? It stays
it,
positive, the whole thing. Yes.
right, it becomes something that isn't about the relationship or obedience or resistance.
Mhm.
Rather, it becomes a curiosity, and I'm going to go find out what was going on so I can fill the gap so my child follows through.
Yeah.
It's a different way to look at it.
Yes.
The issue that comes up for all of us, though, is that we get triggered. When we are triggered, our response is based on what's going on inside of us. So if that child doesn't take out the trash, and I remember getting scolded for not taking out the trash, my default response is going to be to scold for not taking out the trash,
Yeah.
right? And we fall back into our default responses and we get triggered.
Yeah.
But it wasn't when we respond to our child in this particular scenario, and it happens in every scenario. So,
Yeah.
it's not just about the trash. I'm just using that as an example.
Yes.
It's not really about the trash, and it's not really about the child. It becomes about the voice we say to ourselves, about ourselves, inside of ourselves,
Yeah.
which is a reflection of the default we have from childhood.
Mhm.
If we are able to take that pause and wonder for a little while, I wonder what else is going on here. I
Mhm.
wonder what might be missing. Get your mind in that play mindset. It tends to diffuse the trigger inside of us.
Yeah.
It tends to diffuse the judgment,
Yeah.
and it helps us as individuals to even become kinder to ourselves.
Nice. Yes,
The
of course.
prac Yeah, the practice of being kinder to your child helps you to become kinder to yourself
Hmm.
because their behavior is often a mirror for what it is that's going on inside of us.
Isn't that amazing how you find out when you have trouble with one of the students and you bring their parents and you go, okay, now I know where this is stemming from. And they're, yeah.
Mhm. And all of
Unfortunately,
us,
that's the case. Yes.
right? And it happens in both sides. It
Hmm.
happens with the strong characteristics and the negative. It
Yeah.
happens with personality quirks and how you walk and how you eat, like how do you hold the fork? It happens in all kinds of ways. It's
Hmm.
not all just the negative things.
Yes.
But the things that bother us about ourselves are the things that are going to trigger us
Hmm.
about our children.
Hmm.
So when we do actually get triggered about our children and their behavior, it's real important to step back and to be able to question, to calm ourselves because it is a mirror. And we're recognizing something that we don't want to admit typically, we're not conscious of typically, but it's actually something that's going on inside of us that we don't like about ourselves and we want to change in ourselves.
Hmm. So true.
So
So
there
true.
we are.
Yeah.
So that is one aspect that I work on quite a lot with parents, in addition to how do you actually teach the children?
Hmm.
Because when we teach them, we have all these things going on inside of ourselves. So we really have to grow ourselves while we're teaching them.
Hmm. It's the listener and the communication and the listening, the receiving and the I'm trying to think of the right word for that too, but like the you whatever you give out, it has to be received in the right way, without the
Right.
emotion attached. And I love your play idea because that makes it lighter and makes it not
Hmm.
judgmental. That's makes sense to me. That's so good.
Right. And
Yeah.
and one other thing you said without the emotion attached, and that is kind of a real current thinking, and I'm taking that a little bit further,
Okay.
just kind of pushing the buck on that one.
Yeah,
I'm
good.
saying the emotion's there, period.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Now what do we do with it?
Yeah.
And that's what we need to think about.
That
And then
awareness. Yeah.
the awareness piece,
Hmm.
absolutely, because it's not about not feeling. A lot of
Hmm.
us, me included, growing up in homes where happy feelings are acceptable, happy feelings are good and right. Let's keep the happy feelings. But when the bad, icky, sad, angry feelings come up, get over it. We want to be done with that. Move on and get happy.
Yeah.
So a lot of us don't have a real good foundation for how do we talk about
Hmm.
the feelings we have when they're unhappy.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
those are important feelings too. It's part of your humanity. When we feel disappointed, when we feel abandoned, rejected, these words that are big,
Hmm.
big feelings, but also shy or embarrassed or, and there's levels of how much of that too. We become more aware of ourselves and knowing ourselves when we're able to build that vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, when we do that for ourselves, with ourselves, we're also doing it for our children.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I work with parents, I'm often helping parents know, how do you say these words to your kiddo so that they are actually
Yeah.
grabbing a hold of them and putting them in their vocabulary as well.
Yeah, this is a huge learning curve for a lot of people. It's a big group of people, not just the kiddos, like you said, it's the parents, and then the parents and the siblings. I mean, then the parents hopefully
Yes.
teach and train the siblings hear it, and then they learn too.
Yeah.
So this is very powerful and very important.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's totally the relationship. I mean, we could call it emotional vocabulary. We could call it relationship. We could say it's communication. There's a lot of words,
Yeah,
but when you whittle it away, the result
yeah.
is a relationship that becomes happy and strong, which means your household becomes happier, more
Oh,
productive, more
exactly.
peaceful.
Yeah.
Yes.
For everybody, and especially the kiddos who feel like they've done something wrong, and that puts that self-awareness and that self-acceptance that grows,
Hmm.
I think, in everybody who's learning this. I think that's
Right.
wonderful.
And the people
Wonderful.
that tend to come to me are the people that have an awareness that there actually is a communication disorder because my learning, my education, my credentials are in speech pathology. But there's this big other part to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's so good you're bringing awareness to that. I think it's wonderful. So
Yeah,
again,
because it doesn't work unless you do.
well,
The relationship is the glue that holds all that education together. So when I'm going to teach somebody about communication training, maybe we're going to work on sounds and maybe we're going to work on what is the skill set and how does the repetitions work and how can you fortify the environment to be able to work it, whatever. But the glue that holds it together is that relationship because you're asking a child to do a thing that is hard for the child.
yeah. Yeah.
But parents don't tend to think it's hard for the child. It's not hard for them.
Right.
But if the
Right.
child isn't speaking well
Yeah.
or communicating well, then it is not easy for them.
No, no, and they don't understand. Like you said, they don't understand either. You know,
Right.
yeah.
So
Dinalynn,
it's good.
that's wonderful work. I love what you're doing, and I just love bringing everyone together to
I
solve
like
the
it.
issue and
Yeah.
just to have a happier household. I can imagine because I can imagine what the outcome is huge, and they probably won't even realize it until they've gone through your program. So tell us just before we sign off here. Can you tell us if people wanted to get in touch with you or to find out more information, how would they get in touch with you?
Thank you for asking that, Susan. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I also have a podcast, and my
Oh,
podcast is titled The Language of Play.
okay. I love that.
And
Good.
so my email is hello at thelanguageofplay.com.
Okay. Oh, perfect.
And then
Perfect.
I will give you a link tree. And that's the part that I've been able to keep up to date is the link tree. So when I do webinars and stuff, I put it on my link tree. I don't yet have my website up, but it should get up.
Well, good. Go on.
Hopefully soon.
And this is great for me because this really plays right into what my podcast is all about. And so and we're recording this, which is so wonderful. Thank you for that. And it'll go out and I will make sure to put your information in the description so that people have a place to go as well to find you. So I think it's
Thank you.
wonderful the work that you're doing. Thank you so much for being here. And it's
Yeah.
just a pleasure meeting you in this space. And I just want to thank you for all the work you're doing. It's really, really needed and necessary. Appreciate you. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. And you can go to my website, suejansen.ca, because I'm up in Canada. And let's reach out there and have a conversation there and let's communicate there as well. So again, Dinalynn, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure and honor to meet you and keep,
It's
yeah.
it's been an honor and a delight to be on your show, Susan. Thank you
Aw,
so much.
thank you so much. Okay, bye everybody. Thanks for joining us today.